No one ever said life in the Paleolithic era was easy, but if you work together, it can be a lot of fun. Hey gamers, it's Kylie at Games Unlimited, and I want to talk about a recent Kennerspiel Game of the Year winner, Paleo. This one's been out a little over a year now. We had some trouble getting copies in, but we finally got a big restock, so I want to talk about this in a little more detail. This is a rather unique cooperative game. So you play as hunter-gatherers, a tribe of people in the Paleolithic era, trying to survive, trying not to get too many skulls, have too many bad things happen to you, while ensuring your legacy, as it were. You're actually painting this cave painting. Everything that you do that advances you adds a little picture to this cave painting. If you can complete all 5 sections of it, you win the game. Now, I mentioned that this is cooperative. Each player, however, controls their own sort of subgroup of this tribe of Paleolithic humans. And you're going to have to hunt and gather to survive. So at the end of each round, at the end of each day, you're going to have enough food to feed everybody. Plus, depending on the scenario, and there are multiple scenarios in this game, there's going to be other conditions you have to have. Maybe you're going to need a tent at the end of every day. Maybe you're going to need a fire at the end of every day. But those will vary depending on the scenario you choose. So the way a day works, we're all working together, but we each have our own little group of people. And your group of humans will have some special abilities. They have little markings on their card that show, oh, I've got tools, oh, I've got good awareness. That's important because you're going to have to solve tasks, and they may require that you have certain skills to do that. Where the cooperation comes in is that each person, let's say we're playing a 3-person game, each person's going to decide on a card to flip over and try to resolve that turn. But most cards will let you resolve that task, or instead of trying to resolve that task, you can say, you know what, I'm going to help another group of people. So maybe the person on that side of the table needs 2 tools and they only have 1, but you have a tool. So you can say, hey, if you help me, we can resolve this particular thing and get some resources, maybe get some food, maybe get the ability to build a tent, etc. But I only have 1 tool. I'm going to need you to come help so that we can combine our resources. And of course, you can combine what you get out of it as well. Some of the stuff like basic resources, wood and food, those go to a common supply. But other things like tools, individual groups sort of own them and are going to need to help each other. Now, what's really cool and narrative about it is that each day turn, you're going to have a stack of cards, and they have different card backs. So one card back might be the forest. That's going to be an adventure in the forest, and you know the forest usually has food and some wood. Might be an adventure in the mountains. Mountains usually have stones and pelts. So you're going to look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Choose one of those adventures to go on. So everybody does that, and then we reveal it, and that's when you make that decision of, are you going to try to complete your task, are you going to help other people? But some of these things in your deck are hazards. They have a red back. You know it's something that is bad, that you're going to have to do something. If you fail to do it, there's a negative consequence. But skipping those hazards is also bad. So a lot of the things you're going to have to do require you to discard cards from your deck. If you discard hazards, you take a wound, and that's bad. But what's so fascinating is you're going to look at those top 3 cards, decide which one you want to go for, put the other 2 back on top of your deck. So the next action you take is going to be deciding between those 2 cards and whatever was underneath that. So any hazards are going to have to be dealt with in some way, shape, or form, unless you decide, you know what, I'm done for the day, I'm going to discard the rest of my cards and take no more turns. Then the night phase happens. Once everyone's gone through their deck, you're going to have to feed your people, things like that, and you keep going until you win or lose the game. There's this great system of ideas. So some of the things that might be in your deck is like, ooh, this might give me a new idea. Oh, I've had an idea. I've learned how to make a tent. Now everyone knows how to make a tent, how to make a spear, how to make various things if we have the right resources. But you're also going to have to play a card that gives you the ability to craft things if you want those. These are all things that happen in the first module, the first adventure, and there are about a dozen different modules in there, and you mix and combine them. So you can do module 3 and module 6 together, and that's going to come up with a different adventure. You're not supposed to look at them in advance, so there's a lot of surprises and interesting things that happens. It just makes for not only a great co-op experience, because each person feels like, okay, I've got my own little subgroup that I'm trying to manage here, but can I, do I want to do this task, or do I want to go help someone else? Maybe, look, I've got a hazard here that I'm going to need to deal with. This turn, people, I'm going to do the hazard if some of you will be waiting in the wings to help me out if I need to, so that something really ill doesn't befall me. Great choices with a great narrative. I can only imagine as you go through and play the different modules, you'll discover new and interesting and unique things. Plus, it's gorgeous. It's got this gorgeous setup where you place the ideas that you come up with, you place them on this rack with little tokens for them, so you'll know exactly what you need and how to make that thing. I think this was a fantastic pick for a Kinderspiel Game of the Year. I'm so glad we have it back in stock. We're going to have this one set up, set out, so you can come in and take a look at it. I am Kylie at Games Unlimited. I love co-op games. I hope you do too. Come on down, pick one up, take it home and unbox them.